And when every aspect of a unit doesn't perform, where do you look? Coaching. Injuries, sure. Are they reasons or are they excuses? Derek Brown out, Shaq Thompson out, Josie Jewell out, J.C. Horn out. Are they reasons or are they excuses? I would actually say, in that case, the injuries are a reason. I would not expect the Panthers to lock down Tampa because of the injuries. That's a reason. However, the manner in which it happened is not caused by the injuries. The effort that seemed to not be there, the checking out that seemed to happen, that's not an injury. Right? I talked about Raheem Blackshear on offense. Third stringer, fourth stringer, wherever you want to put him on the depth chart, gets a chance. He should be out there fighting for every inch of rushing yards. The players that get to step in for all of those players that we talk about being hurt on defense should be wildly excited to go make a play. I don't like guys missing tackles. I like guys running 110 miles an hour and overrunning tackles. If you're going to miss a tackle, that's how you miss a tackle. There's good. I think Bryce Young is doing what you'd hope. It's not all bad. I go back, and for those of you that watch WRAL Morning News, I was on the news today, and this was my main message about Bryce Young. At the beginning of the year, and we have receipts, you can go back and find it on the podcast, YouTube channel, whatever. The beginning of the year, I said, I'm treating this year like a rookie for Bryce Young, like a rookie year for Bryce Young. Last year, there were, 3 coordinator switches? There was, what is DJ Chark doing? What is Jonathan Mingo doing? All the receivers he was throwing to, where are they now? Not catching passes wherever on the other teams they're on. Right? The situation was so bad, I considered it a wash. There's only one other time I can remember doing that in quarterback evaluations. It was Trevor Lawrence's rookie year because Urban Meyer was a joker, was just a fool. So I said, all right, rookie year doesn't count. We'll start evaluating the next year as if he's a rookie. I said that at the beginning of the year for Bryce this season. All you ask from a rookie is 2 things. You want him to flash the skills of big plays, of special. And you want them to not have the moment be too big for them. He has done that since being benched. He has done that since he's come back from being benched. Right? And this was no different. It's a 48-14 game. I'm not going to sit here and say Bryce Young was, John Elway in 94. I'm not going to do that. But what I will say is he flashed. The opening drive deep ball down the right sideline to Adam Thielen, that's a flash. That's a big-time throw. The touchdown off platform to Thielen, that's the first one. It's a big-time throw. The touchdown, dime down the middle over the top to Adam Thielen with less than a minute to go in the first half. That's a big-time throw. Those are flashes of plays that can win you football games. The issue is you were getting blown out, so it won't win you football games. And the moment has never seemed too big for Bryce when the moment is its biggest. The issue is sometimes the snowball gets going against him in the beginning of a game. But when the chips are down, game-winning drive, you need to come up with a fourth quarter, 2-minute drill, he's been pretty good there. Even in a 48-14 loss, I think there were things, there were nuggets, there were morsels you could grab, clues that say he should be your starter next year. That's the good. The bad? The defense. The bad? The running game. The bad? The regression of the offensive line. The bad? And I say this lovingly towards Adam Thielen. His presence is an eclipse to the rest of the young players on offense. Did you hear the 3 flashes I talked about with Bryce Young? Nice ball 2, Adam Thielen. Nice off-platform ball 2, Adam Thielen. Nice touchdown over the top 2, Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is good. I wish, and I said this earlier this year, I wish he came back from his injury 3 weeks prior, put together a game or 2. I think you would have gotten a nice little draft pick for him at the trade deadline. But he didn't do that, so he's on your team for the rest of the year. His presence has stunted the growth of Xavier Legette, of Jalen Coker, and Jatavian Sanders, the rookies that I think should be featured more. Xavier Legette getting bodied, just absolutely face-guarded by a linebacker 25 yards downfield is embarrassing, but he should have had the opportunity to bounce back with more targets. Jalen Coker disappears at times. He's forgotten about at times. And I get that he's not the most physically gifted wide receiver in the world, but it seems like, I have to keep saying it seems like, because we don't know for sure, because they aren't given enough targets. It seems like every time he's given an opportunity, he finds a way to make something of it. And Jatavian Sanders is similar to Bryce. He's flashed this year as a pass-catching tight end, but hasn't done more, and I want to see if there's more there. For everything that Adam Thielen is, and he's playing really, really well. And I really enjoy watching him, and he's bringing good vibes, and you see the mic'd up stuff where he's a leader, and you see him dancing in the end zone. He's trying to bring positive energy. I really like Adam Thielen. He's not going to be around if and when this team is ready to contend for a Super Bowl. Adam Thielen is the oldest wide receiver in the league by 2 years. This team is, 2-3 years away from legit contention if things go well? He's not going to be there. And we're smart enough, the coaches are smart enough, the GM is smart enough to understand, I get the whole, Bryce needs guys to make plays so you can evaluate him. Listen, if he throws the same ball he throws to Adam Thielen and Xavier Legette drops it, we're smart enough to say that's a good throw. If he throws the same ball he throws to Adam Thielen and Jalen Coker runs the route a little wrong because he's a rookie and hasn't gotten all the experience, we're smart enough to say that's a good throw and a bad route. You can give Bryce Young positive grades on unsuccessful plays if he's not the reason it's unsuccessful. There's good, there's bad. There's small amounts of good, there's large amounts of bad for the Panthers in that game. Got to correct a whole bunch. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll take a break. When we come back, it's me versus Graham and a ladder challenge. And we have the podium. Stick around.
Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Folks, stop letting high interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Especially you homeowners out there, listen up. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's all-new Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven technology to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this. This time next week, you could be credit card debt-free. Don't wait. Get your cash fast. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's bowl season.
Ho, ho, ho!
Listen for college football's best through January 20th. From the Military Bowl to the Natty, every major bowl will be brought to you live.
Jennings has thrown 2 interceptions, and they have both been taken to the house.
Bowl season on 99.9 The Fan and Buzz Sports is presented by Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford, Amedios, and Roofworks.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Terms and conditions apply.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always Bo time.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we get to the ladder challenge, Graham, there's a bit to add on, just a hint to add on to the breaking news from earlier today that NC State football is moving on from Robert Anae as their offensive coordinator. Justin Jolie, tight end, one of my favorite weapons on the offense for NC State. I've been high on him from the moment he committed to NC State out of the portal from UConn. Tweeted out, I can only describe this as like a straight-faced emoji. Like, okay. It's not a frown. It's not a smiley face. It's just a line straight across, like a dash.
Yeah, I'm seeing what you're putting out.
That followed by through socials is insane. End of tweet. Now, obviously, we don't know exactly what that means. However, if that is one of the most necessary towards success, one of the biggest, best weapons on an offense, veteran as well, saying that he found out that their offensive coordinator was fired through social media, that's a problem.
And that's saying a lot considering that Justin Jolie wasn't even targeted in that game against ECU till about, 5 minutes and 39 seconds left in the third quarter.
Whether he's for it or not, he should know before I know. Locker rooms, they're filled with people, right? Sometimes we get caught up in fantasy football, right? We just, I traded this guy, I benched this guy, I cut this guy, and you're just moving names around on your computer screen. In real life, they're people. Relationships matter. They care. And even if you think, that player hates that coach, you don't know that. I disagreed with a lot of coaches in my college career. Didn't mean I, wished ill on them as humans, wanted to see them have to uproot their families. Players should know before it goes out on social. And if it's a panic move, if it's like, hey, we've made this decision, somebody knows, we know a reporter knows, we know there's a leak, send out the mass group text. Hey, everybody, the information's getting away from us, so we want you to hear it from us first. Coach and I will not be retained for next year. Coach Roper is going to be taking over the offense. Send. If it's 15 seconds before a tweet goes out there or a message goes out there, it's worth it. And the other side of it is, if it does go out to social media before we get a chance to tell the players, because if I'm doing this math right, the tweet from Justin Jolie came out 26 minutes ago. The first article that I read on GoPack.com, I believe, was posted at 3:02, which would be an hour and 16 minutes ago. If you know it got online before the players know, an apology text, an apology call. Hey, sorry, we didn't control this better. This is what's happening. Before Jolie sends out that tweet, you had, 1 hour and 16 minutes minus 26 minutes is. There's time to fix it. Treat players like people. It's the craziest thing about modern college sports is I don't even want to say it seems like. The old guard, The old school fans seem to miss the days where you didn't have to treat players like people. You didn't have to make it worthy of their fun. I don't know if you saw this. Jim Larinaga, the head coach of Miami, retired in the middle of a season.
We thought that Tony Bennett retiring just weeks before the season was insane. How about in the middle of a basketball season?
And then in his little retirement press conference decides to throw this barb out there. What's the reasoning, or when did I know? We went to the Final Four a couple years ago, and 8 players came up to me that offseason and said they wanted to leave. And I said, what are we doing? Or what's this about? I forget the exact quote. I went, do you realize how absolutely ridiculous it is to see 8 players make it to the Final Four with you, and they don't want to come back, to not acknowledge your fault in the issue? To not acknowledge that you didn't run a program that they wanted to come back to after the best run they've ever been on in their organized sports career? Sure, there's more money elsewhere. People turn down more money all the time. Or maybe you should get to fundraising so you can pay them what they're worth. You wonder why players are out for me, right? Everybody, I hate the way the new players operate. I hate the way this new generation operates. They're firing. Again, this is assumed that what Justin Jolie said is that he found out through social media and no one let him know that his offensive coordinator was being fired. You're wondering why players only look out for themselves when a potential mentor, friend, sounding board, coach got fired and he was in the dark. That right there is why players operate the way they do, because they're not treated any better. The most frustrating thing about college sports and the way players are treated, and I think players make bad decisions all the time. I think a lot of places it's their right to make bad decisions, but I think players make bad decisions all the time. The thing that upsets me the most is the hypocrisy. The thing that upsets me the most is the hypocrisy. And it goes back to everything you tell kids when they're athletes as children. Right? All right, you got to give respect to get respect. Right? You treat me with respect, says every little league coach everywhere. You treat me with respect, I'll treat you with respect. And players are going, cool, so if you disrespect me, I can disrespect you? Deal. Don't tell me about these moves. Don't keep me more informed than the media. Don't keep me more informed than the fans. Don't make it worth my while. Why would I stick around? Control what you can control. Right? The things outside your control, ignore them. Rules change, coaches all run for the hills. Don't even finish what you start. Every coach tells everyone everywhere. Jim Larinaga bounces in the middle of the season. Tony Bennett bounces 2 weeks before the season, after media days. It's the hypocrisy of it all. Coaches like telling you what to do and not doing it. Jim Larinaga, after a Final Four run, 8 players said they wanted to leave. Well, what's that about? Well, you had just won a conference championship at George Mason. You left that offseason for Miami. What was it about for you? The money? Good. You took success. You built leverage. Then you left for Miami. What is it about for the players? Same darn thing. It's very frustrating to me. Very frustrating. And I like, this has kind of happened to me. Not really. My head coach was fired from college the offseason after my senior year. That's my class's legacy, right? We played so great that our coach got fired a couple weeks after we were done playing. But obviously I still had a ton of fans or friends on the team, right? I didn't redshirt, so kids that were in my class were still on the team if they redshirted. I remember they weren't told, and it was a upsetting thing for them. Nobody controls your life more than your coaches in college. Where they schedule practice decides what classes you can take, because you can't take English 305 if it starts at 4 o'clock and your team practices in the afternoon. When do you eat? When do you work out? When do you see your family? Coaches decide all of that. You just fired a coach without telling the player. When's offensive meetings? Offensive coordinator makes that decision. It's ridiculous. Again, we have to say it. assuming that what Justin Jolie, we're reading it the right way. If that's not what he meant, if that's not what he said, I take back some of what I'm saying, but nothing about, the other observations we made. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Graham, let's get to a ladder challenge. Nothing picks up my spirits like
like losing money.
Like a competition. And I've been losing a lot of money in these little competitions. We each have 3 $10 bets. Whoever has won the most at this time tomorrow is the winner. Graham won't be with us on the show. I'll be hosting the Adam Gold Show tomorrow, so I'll see you then. But it'll be with Victoria. So this will I'll update the people, Graham, on who won. And who knows? You won't be able to check me at all. So I might just say I won. No,
I'll tune in.
I'm kidding.
I have eyes everywhere.
3 bets, $10 each. Whoever wins the most money is the winner. I'll get it started. I'm going Monday Night Football for 2 of my 3. And there's a theme here which is running back production. Jahmyr Gibbs without David Montgomery, I think he's one of the best, most talented players, let alone running backs in the entire NFL. I'm going for over 150 rushing plus receiving yards versus San Francisco tonight. San Francisco is decimated by injuries. The Lions are kind of decimated by injuries, and that means they'll lean on Jahmyr a little bit more. It's plus 170, $10 to win $27. Looking forward to it. Jahmyr Gibbs over 150 rushing plus receiving.
I'm going Monday Night Football for all 3 of my bets, starting with one, selfish reasons. I'm in the championship of one of my fantasy football leagues. My quarterback, Jared Goff, needs some production out of him tonight. So let's go. Goff over 1.5 passing touchdowns at minus 192. Has hit in 4 of the Lions' last 4 games. And as you mentioned, the 49ers defense, ridiculed with injuries. So Jared Goff, come on.
It's 2+ passing touchdowns. What are the odds on that one?
Minus 192.
Minus 192. All right, a little safe. I like it. Next up, the running back on the other team, Isaac Guerendo for San Fran. Over 100 rushing plus receiving props or yards as a prop bet. Versus Detroit, it's also plus 170, so he needs 50 yards less than Jahmyr Gibbs. It's 10 to win, 27. And this is a Kyle Shanahan bet as much as anything. Kyle Shanahan can scheme open Graham if he was the running back. He'd find a way to get him 30 carries, like $130. So Isaac Guerendo, over 100 rushing plus receiving yards.
I like that. A lot of love for me on the show today. I need to be filling in a lot more for the Drive
Darn right.
with Tim Donnelly. As I mentioned, stay in with Monday Night Football for all 3 of my bets. This next one, it's a little fun one, Tim, just because special teams need love too. Let's go Jake Bates, the Lions kicker. Over 3.5 extra points made plus 139. Its plus value has also hit in 3 of the Lions' last 3 games.
So it's over 3.5 points after touchdowns.
Correct.
And what are the odds?
Plus 139.
So if that happens, I think I win my Jahmyr Gibbs bet, because if he's kicking that many extra points, they're moving the ball, and Gibbs will have a big part of that.
Or I'm also hoping that Jared Goff will have at least 2 passing touchdowns to set up for those at least 3 extra made points.
Perhaps to Jahmyr Gibbs. We can all win. My last one here goes to the football game tonight. It is Iowa against Missouri. Missouri's ranked 19th in the Music City Bowl. I want Kamari Moulton to be, and this is my big money winner, to be the first touchdown scorer. He is Iowa's running back, plus 500. Caleb Johnson opted out. Caleb Johnson, for those of you that haven't been paying attention, he's going to be a high draft pick running back out of Iowa. Played very, very well this year. Absolute workhorse. They gave him the ball a boatload. He's gone. I think Moulton is the guy they want to be in that role next year. So they're going to give him the ball a boatload in this one, potentially setting him up to be next year's surprise like Caleb Johnson was this year's surprise. So give me Moulton, first touchdown scorer for Iowa against Missouri. That's plus 500. When that one hits, I'll get a big old fat stack of cash.
Well, that game's actually in progress.
I did not know that.
21-14 at the start of the third quarter. They're coming out of halftime, so we could actually live air check. That's not to do any play-by-play.
Did the bet win? I placed it this morning.
Let's see if Tim's already 1 for 1 on one of his bets.
Oh, hold on.
As soon as you said that, I was thinking to myself, I looked at the monitor.
Monday, December 30th had an afternoon game?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let's look at the score. Nope. Washington was the first touchdown scorer.
So you're 0 for 1.
Moulton did score in the second quarter, though. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th touchdown scorer was Kamari Moulton.
I mean, for plus 500, I would have thought that may have been the bet. 5th touchdown score in the game, plus 500, but
it's disappointing. I want to see how he's doing.
Fortunately, you're 0 for 1 to start, so that sets up good for me.
He's got 7 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown.
Is he number 9?
28.
No, okay, never mind. I was about to say number 9 just got a pretty good run. Well, that's it. I mean,
Man.
I feel good about my start just because, 1, you didn't know your bet was in play, and 2, it didn't hit.
Yeah, I don't even want to check my my DraftKings account now.
Go
ahead, give us your last one.
Final one for me, Detroit, San Francisco, George Kittle, 49ers tight end, over 5.5 receptions, plus 126. Also need this for my fantasy league. It's also hit in 4 of the 49ers' last 5 home games. Plus 126.
I'm bummed already. By the way, I just opening up my DraftKings account. The Jahmyr Gibbs over 150 rushing plus receiving yards has dropped to plus 160. I got it plus 170 this morning. I'm counting it as plus 170. We'll see who wins. I'm already behind. Graham, cut the music. That's the ladder challenge. I'm a little rusty on ladder challenges. I was out for a week. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We do have to quickly here get to the podium, something we normally do at the beginning of this segment, but I got kind of worked up, so it got pushed. The podium every Monday, the 4 schools from the state of North Carolina in the ACC. One gets put off the podium. One gets a bronze medal, silver medal, gold medal. It is a 1-week award. It is just over the last 7 days. So it's this Monday back to last Monday. So basically up to right now on today and everything after the show a week ago Monday. We judge them and we award them their position. Off the podium, you do not get a trophy. You do not get any celebration. You do not get any praise. NC State. Men's basketball didn't play. Football lost to ECU 26-21. That's an ugly loss. And the basketball team didn't have the opportunity to save anything for you, right? It's not like, well, we had a bad football loss, but basketball beat a top 10 team. Like that they didn't even have a chance. Didn't play any games. They're now firing their offensive coordinator earlier today. It's a tough time to be an NC State Wolfpack right now. Dave Doran spoke to the media after the loss to ECU, talking about they had their chances.
There's a lot of plays in this game. I was proud of how we fought back, got back into the football game, flipped the momentum, took the lead, and then just didn't finish. Had 2 drives offensively where we could have ran the clock out, didn't. Defensively, had them 3rd and 10 on the 21, give up a 79-yard touchdown run. And so we had our chances to win that football game and didn't get it done.
Had your chances.
Late. Very late in the game.
Had your chance. You were ahead and had the ball with like 2 minutes left. Yeah, I would say you had your chance to win the game. I ordered the pizza. It was delivered. I had my chance to eat it. It was on my front porch. All I had to do was open the door. Don't know how it didn't happen.
I mean, 2 runs up the middle and then a quarterback keeper on 3rd and long. I still don't know. It's
called the 4-minute drill. Every coach practices it a billion times. Right? The 2-minute drill at practice gets all the love. That gets all the spotlights. Oh, I saw the 2-minute drill. Teams go over the 4-minute drill. It's when you want, usually, right, the reason I call it 4-minute is twice as long as 2-minute. You get the ball at some point in the 4th quarter, and your goal, while scoring would be great, that's not the goal. The goal is to finish the game with the ball. You want to take time. You want to keep the clock running. You want to make the other team use their timeouts. You want to get everything tackled in bounds. You want to have no negative plays, no turnovers, no penalties, and you just want to do what you do best. It's the most obvious time when State doesn't have an identity. When you just need to grind and get first downs, what do you go to? State said, I don't know. I think we're going to just give the ball to them. And that's what you did. They're off the podium. Bronze goes to Wake Forest. This is a weird week for the podium. Wake Forest men's basketball did not play at all. Football did not play at all. And somehow that gets you a bronze medal this week.
So just by default,
nothing.
Demon Deacons get on the podium.
They hired some assistant coaches.
Well, I mean, nothing bad can't happen if you don't play. So they hired a new head coach. That's got to count for something.
Who
right?
used to say that?
Right?
There was a maybe Bill Cowher, actually. I forget who. Jimmy Johnson, maybe. Like one of the coaches that went into media and just stayed in media forever, and they were like, haven't lost a game in 15 years. Yeah, they didn't lose. They end up a bronze medalist. Can't lose a bye week. Silver goes to UNC. They lost their bowl game to UConn 27-14. It was bad. Don't get me wrong. We actually have to talk about it, and maybe we will coming up shortly. It was a bad loss, but it doesn't sting as much if you've already made the move to fix it, right? It's like that loss was awful. That hurt to watch. Luckily, Bill Belichick was back at the facility grinding to put a better something together tomorrow, right? I'll use another pizza example. Like if I'm cooking and I burn my food, but I've already ordered the pizza and I can track it and it's on my street, it doesn't hurt as much that I burnt the food, right? So they may have burnt the food in the bowl game, but the pizza is being delivered back to Bill Belichick at the facility. And then they also beat Campbell 97-81 on the basketball court, which gives them a taste of winning. It's almost 100 points scored offensively, which they desperately needed. Their offense hasn't been great at times. Hubert Davis on where this team is heading into ACC play.
Well, I mean, I'm not moving off of what I've said with this team from the beginning. Success or lack of success with this team is tied to two things: defense and rebounding. We can score. But can we become the best defensive and rebounding team that we can become? And when I say that is in large part the consistency.
I've got some thoughts on UNC, namely of which the last two games Ian Jackson has led the team in attempts. RJ Davis led the team in attempts, field goal attempts, right, shots, in 9 of the first 10 games. Ian Jackson has led them in attempts each of the last 2, and against Campbell, he started. Do we feel a shifting of the focal point of UNC happening?
I mean, I've been saying it, but
I don't think – I mean, I also have been saying it, and hopefully the listeners would back me up that I've been saying it on air for a while, but I don't think either of us are unique in that thought. I think anybody that's been watching UNC is going, that guy looks pretty darn good. Maybe he should take more shots. This other guy's making like 25% of his threes. Maybe he should take a few less.
Hubert Davis was also asked about, is RJ Davis looking a little more comfortable? Because 23 points from RJ Davis led the team second in scoring. I can't believe I'm saying that's a vintage RJ Davis performance. That's like what we're used to seeing last year. Hubert Davis was asked about that, and he was like, of course he's looking more comfortable. He has Ian Jackson that can help, carry the weight of this team and take the weight off his shoulders a little bit.
We're going to talk about this later on, but I've talked with Casey Morsell of NC State from season ago. He's my co-host of Pack Therapy, the podcast during basketball season. And I often go to him on how to guard guys like RJ Davis because nobody, he saw RJ Davis a ton during his career playing with the Wolfpack. And he makes it pretty clear that the focal point on the scouting report was Armando Bacot, and RJ Davis got to play off of him. This year, the first 10 games, at least, RJ Davis was number 1 on the scouting report, and it wasn't as pretty. If Ian Jackson can become number 1 on the scouting report, got to stop him, got to focus him, got to keep eyes on him, and RJ Davis can go back to playing off of that gravitational pull, maybe that's how you get RJ Davis back to what he was doing a season ago. Finally, gold medal, Duke. Men's basketball, nothing. Football, nothing. But it's a different nothing for the football team for Duke than for Wake Forest. Wake Forest football didn't play because they didn't make a bowl game. Duke football didn't play because they're waiting on the bigger bowl games. That's a good thing, right? They're playing the Gator Bowl against Ole Miss on Thursday. Also, reports leaked out from CBS Sports that former Tulane quarterback Darian Mensah, who is committed and signed with Duke football, received a deal from Duke that is believed to pay him $8 million over 2 years.
Cha-ching.
That's good news if you can do that. That's enough to put you up near gold if you can do that. $4 million a year for a quarterback? That'll throw your hat in the ring for any recruit, any transfer in the country. $4 million a year on a multi-year agreement? If you've got that kind of money to spend, you're kind of all in. So Duke is waiting on playing a top 20 team in the Gator Bowl on the football field and paying a boatload of money, allegedly, or reportedly, I should say, not allegedly. That sounds very negative. Reportedly, CBS Sports had the report. And then the men's basketball team is, in the AP poll up to number 4, and they didn't play over the last week. So no demerits there.
Men's basketball back at home tomorrow against Virginia Tech. That's a 4:30 tip, I believe. You can listen to that on 99.9 FM HD2, 620 AM Buzz Sports Radio. I also did want to inform you, Tim, I don't know if you saw this, but it was announced earlier today via WRL Sports Fan that Duke is expected to start quarterback Henry Thielen IV.
Makes sense.
Against Ole Miss. Played in 4 games last year, making 1 start last season, completed 50% of his passes. Grayson
Loftus, I believe, is also in the transfer portal, so that makes
Correct.
sense. He was the backup to Malik Murphy, who went in the transfer portal. So Thielen seems like a really good guy. Last year was obviously rode the roller coaster of being a backup quarterback with injuries and everything else. So it'll be good to see what he can do against Ole Miss. That's the podium here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I have some things to say about UNC football's loss in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl to UConn. A lot of things to say. Stick around.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. For all the inside information on your team, join me and my co-host, WRL TV's Chris Lee, for our podcast, Panthers Playbook, presented by Carolina Ford Dealers. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on your Panthers, and we'll do it with access only we can provide. Locker room insight, exclusive interviews, and in-depth looks at every Panthers game. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to HIMSS.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with DayQuil VapoCool. It's DayQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is DayQuil VapoCool.
DayQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I talked about this earlier today. Hopefully you noticed, but if not, I'll remind you. I was out all last week, right? Some family time. Saw the parents. Saw my brother, nieces, nephews, all that kind of stuff. And while sports is, we're a sports family. It's always around. It's always on the TV. We're talking about it, all that sort of thing. For at least a handful of days, I was able to kind of not professionally follow sports, which it's nice to do occasionally, not very often. And I don't pretend to be like, I'm working the mines or anything like that. I'm not a roofer in July. Like, our job is not the most demanding, tough, whatever job. But it is nice to unplug a little bit. And then when you come back, I call it fresh eyes, right? You can watch the same game and see something new. right? You can watch the film, you can watch a game and see it from a different lens because you have your fresh eyes. So I watched the UNC UConn bowl game, right? The Wasabi Bowl in Fenway. And I think if I wouldn't have had that break, I would have written everything off for UNC. I would have said, who cares? The bowl game doesn't matter. I would have said, Bill Belichick is going to bring in a whole bunch of new guys and the team's going to be completely different for game 1 of next year. So this is all dust in the wind. But then this morning, and I did watch the game as it happened live, but it was, like I said, family talking, right, grabbing some food, hanging out, whatever. I watched it this morning, a rewatch where I could go back and look at every play. It was embarrassing focus. The team wasn't locked in. And again, my reaction was, oh, that's explainable with the Belichick circus, right? How could you be focused with it's Shooter McGavin and Happy Gilmore? How am I supposed to putt with all that going on? I forget what the exact quote was. Go back to your shanties. With all that Belichick stuff going on, how are we supposed to prepare for a bowl game? Shouldn't it have locked you in even more? You have the opportunity to play for the greatest coach of a generation, maybe of all time, but you had an audition against UConn in the Wasabi Bowl. He may not have been in attendance, but you know he was watching the game. You know he's going to pour through the film. You know if you go into the portal, he's going to have some level of, we need to recruit that guy back to the program if you're somebody he wants to have back in the program. Shouldn't you have been locked in? Freddie Kitchens, who acted as the interim head coach, has already been named in the opening press conference for Bill Belichick as UNC head football coach. He said Freddie Kitchens is going to be his first hire. That's what your first hire put on the field. I'm going to make a kind of comparison here. What I hope will be treated the same way. Michael Merdinger was a quarterback that had to come in when Jacoby Criswell got hurt. Right, Jacoby Criswell, veteran, started most of the year, got knocked out of the game early. That's a bummer, by the way, for Jacoby. I hope that's not the last time in real, live action he gets to play football. Merdinger goes in. Merdinger's already been in the portal, right? He's there as do a solid to the program that brought him in at a high school. He's already in the portal. They kind of alternate for a while between Merdinger, a freshman, young guy, absolutely no experience, and Caleb Hood, who was a running back that also went in the portal and pulled his name out of the portal before the bowl game. First of all, that's bad coaching. I'm just going to say it like that. There is one thing you need from your team when you go to a third string, fourth string. Like Merdinger started the year as a fourth string quarterback, because there was opening day starter Max Johnson, then there was Connor Harrell, then there was Jacoby Criswell, then there was at best case fourth string. If you're going to a fourth string quarterback, there's one thing you need from the rest of your team: confidence. You need people that believe he can do the job. And you put him in and then pull him out and let Caleb Hood, a running back, throw a touchdown, that is screaming, I don't trust him. And everybody else on the team is going to go, me neither. So if you don't trust him, don't play him. If you put him in, you have to be all in. Anytime Graham's producing the show, I go with a lot of sports movie references. All right. This time, sports television show. You a Friday Night Lights fan?
Yes.
The television show, one of my favorite shows of all time. The very first episode, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, the stud going to go play college ball, future number 1 overall pick quarterback gets hurt. The scrawny backup quarterback has to go into the powerhouse everybody cares about at football game in Texas high school football. One of the feel-good chills moments of the game, or of the first episode, is when they're going to overtime and the captains have to walk out, and the head coach looks to the scrawny backup quarterback and says, Saracen, quarterback's captain, and he's got to go out there. Does it actually make him a better quarterback that he's walking out there with the captains for overtime? Heck no. And I know it's a TV show, but they're trying to get a point across, and I'm trying to get the same point across. Does it actually matter for his play that the coach did that? No. It matters for everybody else's confidence in him. He has to play the part, fake it till he makes it. Freddie Kitchens didn't let Merdinger do that. The other thing that happened is Merdinger's in the portal, okay? One of the main storylines of that game was Merdinger's hurting himself for the portal. Who's going to want him out of the portal now? Yuck, 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 laugh it up. I hope that applies to Freddie Kitchens too. Team was flat. Gave him no reason to be confident in the quarterback with the Caleb Hood decisions. Where was Davion Goss as the game went along? He has a 100-yard game this season. He's a backup running back to Omarion Hampton. Omarion Hampton opts out. Goss goes in, gets a couple carries early, and then just kind of poof, disappears. You have to have faith in your guys. You lose the game, cool. I'm actually a fan of UConn. I have a buddy on the UConn coaching staff. I think they played a pretty darn good game. I think Jim Moore's got some things cooking up there. I don't think it's embarrassing to lose to UConn in a bowl game with so many opt-outs and your coaching situation going on. I think it's embarrassing to go into that game and have that type of focus. Or should I say that type of lack of focus. This is the kind of game it was for UNC. Caleb LaValle played really well at linebacker. Really well, to the point where he was the silver lining for many fans, right? If you patrol Twitter, you see, one thing I learned is LaValle's someone we can depend on, or LaValle's going to be a star. He's in the transfer portal already. That shows the game wasn't a team-first game for UNC. It was, let me get mine to build up my resume so I can bounce.
Yeah, he recorded a team-high 9 tackles, and then just like that was like, all right, that's good enough for my film.
It was.
Best of luck next year.
I'm not knocking LaValle. I'm not knocking him at all, especially if you feel like you won't be given a shot by the new coaching staff. You think they are going to bring in their guys. You haven't been shown the love. Take care of yourself. Eligibility is finite. Don't waste any of it. But it is kind of the vibe of that, which is everybody knew we're out for ourselves in this one. Good, bad, or indifferent. And I just don't love that was able to permeate through the team. And then you kick it to the next step. Do you know how you solve that? Do you know everything I just said could have been completely avoided if you found a way for Mac Brown to coach the game? You fired him before the NC State game, then let him coach the NC State game as a final farewell. What if you waited till after the NC State game, then fired him and let him coach the bowl game as a final farewell, and you knew the team would have been locked in for NC State? It's NC State. You're UNC. That game's going to be juice-filled anyway. Then the Mac Brown goodbye in the bowl game becomes a way you keep everybody locked in. You don't have that performance where, if you didn't get a kick return, it would have been worse. A lot of mishandled situations culminating in that final game. And I wish it was better than that. I do want to give a shout-out, though, to that kick return. Chris Culliver. Chris Culliver is one of my favorite players in college sports right now. And he's not the most productive. Matter of fact, it's the cliche of stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Chris Culliver has not gotten many opportunities this year. And that offense for UNC, that playmaking group for UNC was stacked. Right? At the beginning of the year, you had Omarion Hampton. You had Bryson Nesbitt, the tight end, Copenhaver, the tight end. You had J.J. Jones and Kobe Paysor and all these guys that could run all over the place. And they were going to be the first ones in line when opportunities arose to make plays. Chris Culliver stayed ready so he didn't have to get ready, and when opportunities came his way, however scarce, however rare, he was able to make the plays. He had a kick return touchdown versus Boston College to make it 17-7, meaning the first score of the game for UNC. They were the 7. He had a 50-yard touchdown catch to take the lead against NC State. And he had a kick return for a touchdown to make it 10-7, where they were the 7, right? First score of the game for UNC versus UConn in the Wasabi Bowl, which is like, all right, that's good. He's a good player. Sounds like they want to get him the ball in space. He caught 6 passes this year. 6. One of them was a 50-yard touchdown. Another was another 46-yard catch against your rival NC State. He had 5 kickoff returns. Obviously, there are some touchbacks and those sort of things, but he had 5 kickoff returns where he tallied statistics this season. He scored 2 90-plus yard kickoff returns for touchdowns on 5 opportunities. 11 times he was the ball carrier this season. He scored 3 50-plus yard touchdowns. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You don't need 80 touches. You don't need 100 catches to have an impact. Shout out to Chris Culliver. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have the starting 5 coming up next. We still haven't talked enough about the Canes, which we will get to, I promise, as they head into the new year. The Panthers got smoked and more. Stick around.
Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Folks, I need you to stop letting high interest debt weigh you down. Pay it all off in days thanks to Loan Pronto's new Rapid Equity Loan. Homeowners out there especially, listen up. Imagine a completely hassle-free way to cash out your home equity. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's all-new Rapid Equity Loan uses AI-driven technology to get you approved for cash out in as little as 1 day. One client got $100,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their debt, launched a home improvement project, and is now saving over $1,000 a month. Instant approvals, low fixed rates, fast transfers. Get cash to consolidate all your debt and get a fresh start for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week, you could be credit card debt free. Don't wait. Get your cash fast. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's bowl season. Ho, ho, ho! Listen for college football's best through January 20th. From the Military Bowl to the Natty, every major bowl will be brought to you live.
Touchdown Notre Dame! A 98-yard sprint to the house.
Bowl season on 99.9 The Fan and Buzz Sports is presented by Wake Med, Sammy's Tap and Grill, and Roofworks.
Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown!
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What? You expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Our neighbors in western North Carolina are still reeling from the devastation caused by Hurricane Helene. The North Carolina Association of Broadcasters has partnered with the United Way to help rebuild their lives. During the month of December, please give to United for Western NC at unitedfornc.org. Your donation in partnership with the United Way will directly support unmet needs in these communities. Please support those who have suffered so much by giving to unitedfornc.org today. Furnished by North Carolina Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Tim Donnelly here for DraftKings Sportsbook. It's the most wonderful time of the year for getting in all of the hoops, football, and hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. In the season of giving, we're being gifted college football and basketball, pro football and basketball, and pro hockey too, almost 24/7. Money lines, parlays, props, live bets, and so much more. The betting options feel endless on DraftKings. And here's a gift for all new customers. Bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TIMD. That's code TIMD with no spaces for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Happy holidays from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. Clear skies, chilly again tonight, 43 the low. We've got a cold front coming in late tomorrow afternoon and evening. Partly cloudy, warmer tomorrow, breezy 68, a chance for some evening showers, cooler Wednesday.
5 o'clock check of your money at the closing bell. Dow Jones closes the day down 418 points at 42,573.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we jump into the starting five, there's only, 2 days left, including today, of 2024. Before the new year, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Make it a point, before the calendar changes, to be a subscriber to the 99.9 The Fan YouTube, and then enjoy the benefits all of 2025 and beyond, where we consistently and intentionally put out as much content as possible for you to enjoy about the teams you care about on 99.9 The Fan's YouTube. Now the starting five, starting with number 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Panthers got smoked by the Bucs, didn't they? Yowzers. How'd that taste?
I mean, a duck on the field was probably the biggest highlight of the whole game.
I said this earlier, but I was on the WRAL Morning News this morning, and the very first question Ken brought up was duck-related. And I was like, you know what? If there's a game where you need a little bit of comic relief, just a little bit of brevity to break up the pain, and the duck was a good little, at least you got to chuckle at that. If you're going to have a punt blocked, at least you can, make some jokes about words that rhyme with duck.
Yeah.
There's good opportunity there. But when you really boil it down, when you really look at the game, gosh, there wasn't much to laugh about, smile about. Dave Canales, the head coach, after the game on getting outplayed and outcoached.
Just sick, just about finish opportunities, to try to play our type of ball. And in all phases, we got outplayed, outcoached. I got to first give credit to the Bucs. They were on fire today. And, they made it hard for us. We're 22% on third down. We couldn't stay out there offensively. Defensively, couldn't get off the field, and the big block punt for another touchdown is huge. So in all phases, it's stuff that, we all got to carry together. And we got one more opportunity to finish, so we have to regroup. We have to have the discipline to go right back to work and finish on our terms.
All right. There's something that is a pet peeve of mine that Dave Canales just did. Can you go ahead and play that same clip again, and I'll tell you when to stop?
Just sick, just about finish opportunities, to try to play our type of ball. And in all phases, we got outplayed, outcoached. I got to first give credit to the Bucs. They were on fire today.
Stop it. They were on fire today? Hate that. You can give credit to the Bucs, say they played well. They were on fire. It's conceding something. It's saying, when they're on fire, what can we do? You're guarding Kevin Durant, who's hitting fadeaway threes. He's on fire. You shouldn't call the Bucs Kevin Durant. They are not Kevin Durant. What do announcers love to say? Sometimes it's just good defense, better offense. That's not what that game was. If the Bucs were on fire, it's because the Panthers lit the flame. Right? If they were on fire, it's because Kevin Durant got on fire by hitting 3 wide open threes, and then all of a sudden he was in rhythm. There was very little that I think the Panthers did to slow down the Bucs. And if you don't make that the number one, number two, number 3 points in your press conference, you're letting yourself off the hook. Is this nitpicking? Yes. Let's be clear. Like I am combing through his post-game press conference with a very fine-tooth comb. But that game deserves anger. And it's one of the main qualms. I don't even know if that's the right word. It's one of the main problems. Just keep it simple. One of the main problems I have with Dave Canales is after losses, I'm going, did we watch the same game? I mean, I covered the team, and I'm furious just because I had to watch that style of awful defense. And I want to yell at some. Let me get in there in a post-game locker room. Let me get to the post-game press conference and say that is unacceptable. You're sitting there going, well, we got outcoached, we got outplayed, and they were on fire. No, be mad. Like, there are moments where mad is not appropriate. There are moments where mad is appropriate. If your team does something that should make you mad, it's okay to be mad. If your team does something that makes you disappointed, it's okay to be disappointed. I'm not saying blame, but I'm get mad at yourself. It's, push them, pull them, do something. Bryce Young did have flashes. I thought the 2 touchdown passes were really good. The deep ball to Adam Thielen on the right sideline early in the game was a really good pass. Other than that, not much to write home about. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
The Carolina Hurricanes are in a weird spot for me. I mean, let's call a spade here a little bit. The Saturday was fun. Saturday was fun. 4 goals in the third period. You come from behind. You get the win. It was number 300 for Rod. So Rod Brindamore, now the fastest coach in NHL history to 300 wins. It was all good.
Eric Hollis, one of 18, one of 19 since being traded to the New Jersey Devils at Lenovo Center.
Which everyone would have been very excited
about. And Mitchell Roloff got in a fight with him, too. Overall, good Saturday night feel at Lenovo Center for Canes fans.
Saturday was fun. It's not a solution, right? I talked about having fresh eyes and taking my time away from, my critical note-taking eye watching games. Sometimes that is exactly what it is, exactly what it needs to be. Sometimes that is, it confirms things, right? I watch the Canes, I go, geez, number 1, number 2, number 3, these things are problems. But maybe I'm too close. Maybe I'm pessimistic. Maybe there's some of my own biases working in here. So let me go splash around in the pool at my parents' house with my niece, nephew, and son for a while. Let me go shut it down. Let me go play a game. Let me go watch a game as a fan. Then, Monday, earlier today, come in early, right? I'm here a couple hours before I normally am. I turn on the tape and I watch the game and I go, yeah, I think the exact same things. Ain't nothing changed about what I'm seeing here. Since I started watching the team this season, 2 things have become abundantly clear. The team lacks edge, and I don't care what you call it. Sandpaper, toughness, grit, fire. They lack that. And the goalie situation is still frustrating as all get out. And I took my time. I walked away, took the dog for a walk, came back, same exact reaction. There are always going to be bright spots because the team's too talented not to. Jackson Blake scoring his first goal in a while. Bright spot. Jack Roslovic getting going, scoring, assisting, 34-point night. It's going to be fun. Sebastian Aho getting a little puck luck, getting a goal. Bright spot.
Production for the blue line. Dmitry Orlov scoring.
Dmitry Orlov. Huge bright spot. But none of that matters if you don't solve the first 2 things. How many good teams in NHL and, heck, any level of hockey history have we seen be very, very talented at every skater position and have the goalie upend all of that? And I'm not saying Pyotr Kochetkov will. I'm saying you need somebody else to carry that burden with Pyotr Kochetkov. He's not ready to be an everyday goalie. There aren't many people that can possibly do that. Then no one does it in hockey anymore. None of it. If you don't have edge, if you don't have toughness, you're just going to buy time until the postseason when you need toughness and edge. And when you don't have it, you're going to go, You're going to have everything set up. You're going to think of it like it's medieval times. You're going to have the archers perched on high hills. You're going to have the people ready with the slingshots, the trebuchets. You're going to have the people with the moat. You're going to have the people ready to roll up the drawbridge. You're going to have everybody in position. And when you go to fire those arrows, no arrows, just bows. Oh, we've got the fire to light the tips of the arrows. No arrows. The Canes have everything. Edge is the arrow. Edge is what you need. Toughness is what you need in the postseason. You need somebody that can snap you out of a funk with pure effort and will and fire. Every team and every team sport needs a couple of them. People that just have fun with contact, that are comfortable in fights.
Is it too soon to put up the milk cartons that say they have Marty Nature's face on them saying missing?
No, because Marty, it's unfair to expect Marty Natchez to be what he was over the first 30 games. It's. Did anybody think he was now going to be a 160-point scorer? You knew he was going to come back down to earth. And I know we started flirting with, is this the new... I never thought he was going to be a two-point-a-game guy. The thing is, when Natchez goes on that run, that allows Fetch to chill for a bit, or Aho to get off to a slow start, or Jarvis to get hurt. That allows all these other things. And now that he's slowing down, somebody else has to grab it and run. And if they don't, someone else in that locker room has to punch that one that's not taking it and running in the face, metaphorically or otherwise. Team sports are funny deals. The best close-knit groups, it's not like they don't fight. It's not like it's all fun and games. It's when to fight. It's when to push buttons. It's when to pull strings. They're just buying time until if or when they get those two things solved. Maybe it's a trade. Maybe it's a signing. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a trip to a paintball field where they get to unleash their inner aggressions. I don't know. What number was that? I'm losing track. That was 4. Let's get to number 3. UNC basketball beat Campbell yesterday. It's an interesting game. First of all, let's hear from Hubert Davis, who talked about R.J. Davis feeling a lot more comfortable.
I think one of the things that helps is just the growth of Ian. You got another scorer out there, and so when you have another person out there that can go get buckets, very similar to what he experienced last year where you had Cormac, Harrison, Armando, got a little bit more space to be able to get into his offensive game. And so I'm really happy for him.
Here's what might be happening right in front of our eyes. A transition of role. Ian Jackson has now led UNC in scoring each of the last 2 games. Ian Jackson, 5-star freshman, for those of you that are unaware, the first game he led him in scoring, off the bench. The second game, by the way, that was a must-win game against UCLA. We called it a must-win game. They won it by 2. It was their first top 25 win, their first power conference, non-conference win, and really their last opportunity. Must-win game, Ian Jackson, leading scorer off the bench. Yesterday against Campbell, leading scorer as a starter. So you're starting, you see what I'm doing here. But more importantly than even being the leading scorer, Ian Jackson led the team in shot attempts against UCLA off the bench and then again against Campbell as a starter. The previous 10 games, R.J. Davis led them in shot attempts 9 of 10. And do you know what's crazier about that? The one game he didn't was an absolute blowout, and Cade Tyson, who doesn't even play in some games, led him in shots. So you could argue in every game that played out as an entire game, R.J. Davis had led them in shot attempts, and now Ian Jackson is taking over. And earlier we mentioned My conversation with Casey Morcell, who is a starter on NC State's team that made the run to the Final Four last year, perimeter player, guarded R.J. Davis a lot. We're talking with him on the Pack Therapy Pod. You can find that everywhere podcasts can be found, as well as our YouTube page, 99.9 The Fan. And part of discussing why R.J. Davis was struggling this year is he goes, well, his shots are more difficult. Last year, and this was coming from someone that played UNC multiple times, last year we were stopping Armando Bacot first, which inherently gives R.J. Davis an easier time. This year, there is no Armando Bacot. R.J. Davis is getting more difficult shots, and he's not making them at the same clip he did a season ago. If Ian Jackson becomes the focal point, which could be as simple as raw physical ability, and what I mean by that is if you have to be the number one option, you might need to have a certain amount of like NBA athleticism, size, quickness to create as a number one option for yourself on the perimeter. Ian Jackson has that. He's, mocked a first-round pick, mid to late first. He's going to be one of those dudes. And if he plays like he has the last two games, he'll rise on those big boards. R.J. Davis, not projected to get drafted, right? That's why you come back this season. So now maybe R.J. Davis can go back to playing off of someone else's gravitational pull as the number one guy, and Davis can get back to shooting slightly more open shots, slightly better shot selection. If he goes back to shooting 40%, Ian Jackson gets his 17-plus a game, they might be onto something.
Every Batman needs a Robin.
Every Batman needs a Robin, and sometimes every Robin needs to recognize he ain't a Batman.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah, I like take your chance. Put the cape on, put the bat suit on, go hop in the Batmobile, see if you are Batman. But once you realize you're not, go back to that green, yellow, red monstrosity that Robin wears. Still get to be in a comic book. Still action figures. That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us.
UNC football lost to UConn. This is a tough little stretch here for
tough transition
for UNC. But UNC won, and they're I think moving in the right direction for basketball. Football, I also think is moving in the right direction towards Bill Belichick. The ending of or the entirety of the Freddie Kitchens interim head coaching role, that era is tough. That one game with Freddie Kitchens as interim head coach, not great. And Freddie Kitchens, as interim head coach, talked about having to play a true freshman quarterback after the game. This is what he said.
I think, Lonnie and the offensive staff did a tremendous job of having sort of an emergency plan, and it kind of came to fruition a little bit with Caleb. We'd been repping that for a little while, and didn't hesitate to get it incorporated. And then, Michael came in and made a couple throws for us there late too. So, I was proud of Mike, the way he handled the situation. I mean, he's sitting over there. He just jumped in the transfer portal 48 hours ago, and now he's out there playing.
I'm not going to say it's an easy situation for Freddie Kitchens. It's unprecedented. Interim coach, Bill Belichick over your shoulder, quarterback forced into action is actually in the portal as you speak, Michael Merdinger. It seemed like he was just, how long do I have to be up here? 15 minutes of media availability? All right, let's try to knock out 2.5 minutes a question with just words. Let me just say things. That's what it, and actually, that might be a great metaphor for that game. Every once in a while, you see someone at the podium in a post-game presser who recognizes, like, the league requires us, the conference requires us to do 15 minutes of media. I'm going to try to make it through this game without saying anything that's going to get me in trouble. I'm going to try to make it through this podium without letting anybody know anything.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
That's kind of what it felt like UNC's football team was doing in the Wasabi Bowl. You're going to make us be here for 4 quarters? All right, let's try to do something. I don't know, put a running back at quarterback. Now let's figure it out.
I was just about to say, Freddie said, gave credit to Lonnie saying that the offensive staff had a good backup plan in case Criswell went down. I'm reminded early on in the game during the broadcast after Criswell's injury, they said, well, talking to Freddie Kitchens early in the week, what is the backup plan in case your quarterback goes down? He says, expect to see a lot of Wildcat. And at first you're kind of chuckling about it, and then once it happens and you see Caleb line up in the Wildcat formation, you're like, oh, crap. Like, they really don't have a backup plan there.
Wildcat and going to it, Hood threw a touchdown. Like, let's not act like they didn't have any success. Wildcat is inherently a changeup, right? There is a fine line between throwing a changeup and just being a pitcher that doesn't throw it very hard, right? If you're throwing fastballs and mix in a changeup, if you have a quarterback that's playing well and you mix in a Wildcat, that's a good weapon, right? If you throw 100 miles an hour, you mix in an 81 mile an hour changeup, that's a good weapon. But as soon as you're throwing like 95% 81 mile an hour changeups, now you're just a pitcher that throws slow. And UNC was like, all right, we got this thing. And then it was like, do we keep going with the Wildcat? If you don't have the quarterback that can play, you're not prepared. And it was weird to kind of celebrate everybody saying they were prepared when obviously they weren't. And I hear like Michael Merdinger was in the portal, so it's weird. But also, Merdinger was around all year.
Yeah.
It's not like when you go in the portal, you have to like scan your brain and forget the entire everything you learned this previous year. If he was prepared 3 days ago when he wasn't in the portal, should kind of apply. Right? I wasn't impressed by the Freddie Kitchens era. The best news for UNC football fans is you've already made the fix. You've already hired Bill Belichick. You've already started the next. So it's not like, geez, that bowl game was so bad, we better go change some things. It was like, geez, that bowl game was so bad, thank goodness we already changed some things. It just shows why it was necessary. That's number 2. Let's get to number 1. NC State lost to ECU in the Go Bowling Military Bowl, which we opened up the phone lines to callers earlier today, a little Monday sound off. We do it every Monday from 3:30 to 4. Just open up the phone lines, let you drive the show. What would you say? It was like 85% NC State fans upset?
I mean, all I know is we had one guy calling about the hurricane. Shout out to Micah and Carrie.
Made a great point. Shout out to Micah.
That just tells you the story when you only have one person calling about the Canes and also one other person calling about the Panthers.
But even that was NC State and Panthers,
yeah.
So that's like 50%. First of all, since that game, you fired your offensive coordinator. Robert Anae, no longer the offensive coordinator. That news broke during the 3 o'clock hour. So change is happening. You're going to have new offensive and new defensive coordinators. Change is happening. As far as Dave Doran goes, we might get into his career a bit tomorrow when I host the Adam Gold Show, which you can hear immediately before this one every single day. Our show here on 99.9 The Fan tomorrow will be overtaken by Sun Bowl coverage. So you'll hear the Sun Bowl here on 99.9 The Fan beginning at 2. If you want to catch the Adam Gold Show, we'll be on noon to 2 here, myself in Victoria, and we'll be on noon to 3 on Buzz Sports Radio. Whole bunch of stuff. That's just housekeeping. But the reason why I say that is Dave Doran has the vote of confidence of the powers that be, right? He's coming back next year. I do think there was probably, and this is just me guessing, a mandate that like, hey, we're bringing you back, but you better make some changes. What you did this year isn't good enough, so make some changes so we get different results next year. Thus, 2 new coordinators. And I'm not saying Tony Gibson would have been fired, but there could be some heavy-handed hinting. One time early in my career, I was in radio sales, but I was doing maybe not the best job in sales because all I wanted to do was what I'm doing now. All I wanted to do is host, so I was just kicking around the hosts trying to like, hey, I have an opinion. Hey, maybe I should go. Hey, are you feeling bad? Maybe you should go home. I could be emergency filling. Like I was doing that the whole time around the station. And the head of sales called me in and goes, hey, just so you know, it's easier to find a job when you have a job. And I was like, He was like, if you're looking for a job, people are more likely to hire you if you currently have a job. Oh,
light bulb
gotcha.
goes off. Yeah.
Yes, heavy-handed hinting worked, and they didn't have to fire me.
And then Tony Gibson's the head coach at Marshall.
And Tony Gibson's the head coach at Marshall. I'm not saying that happened, but it could have happened, right? Because if you have a season where you start off with ACC championship aspirations and you finish below 500, losing to in-state group of 5 teams in bowl games that are played in baseball stadiums, you're probably getting some heavy-handed hinting from your bosses. All right, we'll bring you back, but XYZ has to change. If they're bringing back Dave Doran, one of 3 things are true, okay? The first thing could be they're happy with the level of success Dave Doran has had in his tenure. They think it's acceptable. They think it's worthy of retention and having a firm hold on your job. They are happy and maybe even excited about never having 10 wins, but darn near always being bowl eligible. If you think that's the ceiling of your program, you keep David Doran around. Dave Doran. I've never called him David in my life. The second potential option, powers that be, think Dave Doeren needs to change things, and he has shown us that he knows the things to change, right? Maybe he told us, maybe he made a presentation, maybe he explained to us why a new offensive coordinator or a new way to spend in the portal. He has it hasn't been good enough, but he has a plan to be good enough, better than he's been in the future, and we believe that plan will work. That's option number 2. Option number 3 is this. They want to be the Steelers. And what I mean by that is that they want to be the school that as long as you're a good guy, as long as you build a good culture, we give you time to figure it out. And if it's 15, 20 years, we'll give you that time. The Steelers have had 3 coaches since like the 60s. They went Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. And that's going way the heck back. And because of that, I believe if and or whenever Mike Tomlin moves on, they'll be able to name whoever they want to be the coach because they're going to go, hey, you come in here, you do a halfway decent job, we're not going to fire you for 30 years. Like, if State wants to be that, to do that, you have to give guys like Dave Doeren a long leash. If you want to be the loyal, if you want to be able to name your coach next time by saying, we give you all the job security in the world, you have to prove it. Those are the 3 options I have. Can't change facts. You think Dave Doeren's the best coach in the world? I think he does a lot of things very well. I think he's a good leader of men. I think he's a good head coach. Can't argue with facts. He's never had 10 wins. He's never had 10 wins. He's bowl eligible most seasons. He's never gotten to 10 wins. And there are a whole bunch of teams that do it a whole bunch more often with less than what NC State is working with. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I missed the numbers game while I was out for a week. Didn't get to feel the rush of being a game show host and sensing your thrill of competition. So I am happy to be taking numbers game contestants once again. We have a $25 Hardee's gift card going out to one of you, but you have to win it. In order to win it, you have to call in now. The number to call, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a Hardee's gift card. We need 2 contestants to play the numbers game. Winner gets the Hardee's gift card. It's coming up next.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and do you have a late-night craving for in-depth analysis on the Carolina Hurricanes and their latest game, their latest win, their pursuit of the Stanley Cup? Well, I can quench your thirst. I can feed that appetite on the Canes Corner podcast, the morning after edition, which drops the morning after every Hurricanes game. Get it wherever you get your podcast. Brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to HIMSS.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
This holiday season, Capital One reminds you to give yourself the gift of 1.5% cash back with the Capital One Quicksilver Card.
Can I earn 1.5% cash back on birds?
Birds?
What if you sent your true love 2 turtle doves plus a partridge in a pear tree?
Sure, but why would anyone want that?
The song was very convincing.
Earn 1.5% cash back on all your holiday purchases with the Capital One Quicksilver Card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Kudos, Carl. You've always had a need for speed. Racing anything with wheels. Yelling out 3, 2, 1 at every traffic light. But this time, you've taken your power obsession to the next level. By purchasing this electric vehicle, you've given yourself instant torque that blows your old launch times away, which will keep you saying, woo-wee, every time you punch the pedal. Good for your adrenaline, great for the planet. That's the power of EV. Sponsored by the NC Clean Energy Technology Center and the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters in cooperation with this station.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need
need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. One of my favorite times of day where I get to pretend I am a game show host. And in order for me to pretend I am a game show host, we need contestants. We have Mike and Gardner and Dean and Rocky Mount. They'll be competing for a $25 Hardee's gift card. But as always, first we need to find out who goes first. So we will ask you a question. Graham will pick his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first. Mike and Gardner, are you ready to roll?
Yeah.
All right. The question is, what was the highlight of your past weekend? But because we're a sports show, keep it sports related.
Easy. Saw my Wizards beat the Hornets in D.C.
Big Wizards fan, are you?
That's right.
There are.
Right.
You don't see a Wizards fan walking around every day. We're happy to have you on the show.
Yep.
Dean and Rocky Mount, you are up next. Dean, are you there? Dean, hello.
I'm here.
All right, Dean. Same question to you. What was the highlight of your past weekend? And because we're a sports show, keep it sports related.
You know, my favorite moment from this weekend was getting to see Eric Holla get jumped by Dmitry Orlov. That really made my weekend.
You and I think a whole bunch of other Canes fans. Graham, you are the judge for today, as the producer always is. Which answer out of those two will earn themselves the right to go first?
No offense to Mike and Gardner. Congratulations on your Wizards beating the Hornets. But as I even related to it earlier when we were talking about the Canes. Eric Holla, 1 of 19, 1 of 18. I don't have the official stat in front of me, but it's something like that. And then Dmitry Orlov throwing the gloves. I mean, yeah, I got to go with Dean and Rocky Mount.
I talk about people that are 100% approval rating all the time. It's also rare to see someone with 100% disapproval rating. And if you poll Canes fans, Holla's close. Let's go ahead and roll with Dean first. Dean, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, here are the categories you get to choose from. NFL players born in the last week of December. NFL Associated Press Most Valuable Players. NBA Original Dream Teamers. There you go. Or NHL Hurricanes only.
You know, I had a whole thought rationale of what I was going to do, but I'm going to change it. Give me the Associated Press MVP guys.
All right. These are all NFL players who were voted, obviously, AP MVPs. I will give you the team and the player. You give me the jersey number and go as fast as you can because there's 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
Perfect. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Cam Newton, Carolina Panthers.
Number 1.
Correct. LaDainian Tomlinson, San Diego Chargers.
23.
Incorrect. Marshall Faulk, St. Louis Rams.
22.
Incorrect. LaDainian Tomlinson, San Diego Chargers.
83.
Incorrect. Marshall Faulk, St. Louis Rams.
43.
Incorrect. LaDainian Tomlinson, San Diego Chargers.
84.
Incorrect. Marshall Faulk, St. Louis Rams.
32.
Incorrect. LaDainian Tomlinson, San Diego Chargers.
81.
Incorrect. Marshall Faulk.
Shouldn't have done that.
I was going to say, it sounds like the pivot was a bad on-the-spot decision, if we're being honest.
Yeah, it was.
You did get Cam Newton, number 1, good for 1. He was the 2015 NFL MVP. In 2006 was LaDainian Tomlinson's MVP. He wore number 21. Marshall Faulk with the Rams back in 2000 was the MVP. He wore number 28. Those were the MVPs that you missed. You have one, though. You didn't get shut out, which is always nice. Go ahead and sit on the line. We'll see if it holds up, all right?
Okay.
That means Mike and Gardner, you are up next. Mike, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players who were born in the last week of December, NBA original Dream Teamers, or NHL Hurricanes only.
NBA original Dream Teamers.
All right. Just one quick clarification for this one, since the category is original Dream Teamers. We're not looking for their Dream Team number. We are looking for the number that they wore on the team that I say, okay, just to be super clear there. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. You need at least 2 for the win. Any questions before we get started?
No.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Larry Bird, Boston Celtics.
33.
Correct. David Robinson, San Antonio Spurs.
David Robinson, 24.
Incorrect. Karl Malone, Utah Jazz.
Ooh, pass.
Chris Mullin, Golden State Warriors.
33.
Incorrect. David Robinson, San Antonio Spurs. This is a brutal one for you, Mike. Tie goes to whoever goes first. So, unfortunately, one not enough for the win. I will update you.
That's crazy. Yeah, my weekend was way better than his. He was at home watching a game on TV. I went to a game in the stadium and saw a team get their 5th win. That's ridiculous.
But also you have to. But no, we did. But also you have to remember we're in North Carolina. You talked about beating the Hornets. Like you think that's going to endear you to the judge? In Washington D.C., I'm sure your answer would have played.
Everyone cheered for the Wizards before there was the Hornets, so I'm old. You got to give that to me. That's crazy.
The answers you missed, by the way, hopefully you had a fun time playing. Larry Bird wore number 33. You got that. David Robinson with the Spurs wore number 50. And Karl Malone with Utah, number 32. That was the number we were looking for.
32.
So, actually, if you're an old-time fan, you should have been all over the Dream Teamers, right? If you go back pre-Hornets. We're not looking for mellow ball out there.
I am. I thought I had it. You know what? Truthfully, I should have got all of this.
Either way, appreciate you for playing, Mike. Hopefully you can call back in and give it another go. Dean and Rocky Mount, you are the winner. Congratulations.
Thank you. Good game to my opponent.
The last second pivot on topic selection didn't end up hurting you.
Yeah, I knew I should have picked the Canes.
Well, I'm looking at the Canes and I'm going to give you no indications of whether it was easy or hard. But I will give you, or Graham will, give you the gift card to Hardee's. All you have to do is stay on the line and make sure Graham has the info he needs to get you the gift.
Thank you, Tim. By the way, my mom loves your show.
Oh, well, tell your mom happy holidays and thank you for the compliment and listening. Appreciate it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Gotta love when mom likes the show.
A lot of parents tuned into the show today.
Yeah. My mom listens to the show all the time as well. My mom listens to by the way, I have very supportive parents. I'm very appreciative. She listens to the show for 3 hours a day sometimes and will apologize if somebody calls her during the show. Be like, oh, your aunt called and I talked to her for 40 minutes, so I missed a bulk of the 4 o'clock hour. I'm like, Mom, you do not have to listen every day. But it is very much appreciated, and the support for my career is fantastic.
My mom also tunes in to majority of your show, Tim. And we're going to play a little test, just, since I'm an old soul with music. We're going to see if she's listening right now. So if I get a text message from her for a rejoin suggestion, that will show that she's listened to the show currently.
This is where we're different. I'm sitting here saying, Mom, you don't have to. You're like, let's test to see if you actually listen 100% of the time. I don't get a text. I'm going to know you're lying.
Well, my dad listens.
Your dad called in earlier today. Shout out to parents over the holidays. Speaking of, I don't even know if I've said this on air, but I have another child coming on the way in February. So I should start saying that on air in order to prepare everybody, because at some point I'm going to miss a little bit of time as we get life settled with 2 children. I have a daughter due in mid-February. Could come earlier. Our son, our firstborn, did come 20 days early, so we're on call pretty shortly here once 2025 starts for the new baby. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, rocking the mustache. That is in part because I think it's hilarious when babies are born if you have a solid dad stash. If you, like, for the first pictures with your kid, if you have a funny facial hair, then when they're in high school and they're looking at pictures of them as a baby, they're like, oh my gosh, you used to wear that?
I didn't notice it till like midway through the show. I was sitting here and I looked up at the monitor. I was like, oh, Tim's got a stash now.
I need to shave my beard a little bit more.
I might join you. Not because I have a kid on the way. Just, I mean.
Oh, what are you trying to tell us, Graham?
Stash is trendy.
So anyway, over the next couple of weeks, we'll talk about it more. But any advice for going from one kid to two kids from the parents out there? We're accepting advice. Anything can help. Takes a community to raise a herd of children, right? The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Thank you to the contestants for the numbers game. Hardy's gift card going to the winner. We'll take a break. When we come back, college football playoff quarterfinals tomorrow. And since we don't have a version of The Drive tomorrow, let's dive into Penn State, Boise State, and the Fiesta Bowl coming up next.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. For all the inside information on your team, join me and my co-host, WRAL TV's Chris Lee, for our podcast, Panthers Playbook, presented by Carolina Ford Dealers. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on your Panthers, and we'll do it with access only we can provide. Locker room insight, exclusive interviews, and in-depth looks at every Panthers game. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, listen up. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Hey, it's Dennis Cox with Loan Pronto. The Fed has dropped rates again. The election is over, and Loan Pronto has APRs in the low 5s for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans. If your current mortgage rate is over 6% or you are in process with another lender, don't settle. Call Loan Pronto now for a second opinion. Lock in a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. If you act now, you won't make your first payment till February. This 5-minute call saves homeowners an average of $5,000. Lower rates and lower fees. Get your Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Loan Pronto, call 919-381-1760 or loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Our neighbors in western North Carolina are still reeling from the devastation caused by Hurricane Helene. The North Carolina Association of Broadcasters has partnered with the United Way to help rebuild their lives. During the month of December, please give to United for Western NC at unitedfornc.org. Your donation in partnership with the United Way will directly support unmet needs in these communities. Please support those who have suffered so much by giving to unitedfornc.org today. Furnished by North Carolina Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to HIMSS.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to HIMSS.com/joy.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Panther fans, just so you are aware, Panther Talk coming up at the start of the next hour, so that'll be right at 6 o'clock. Hang around for that. You'll hear from Dave Canales, Anish Shroff, everybody that you're used to hearing about or hearing from when it comes to insight into the Panthers. And let's just say they got something to talk about after that game against the Bucs. Let's give them something to talk about. You know what I'm talking about. Right now, tomorrow, we get college football playoff quarterfinal action. It is the Fiesta Bowl. It's in Arizona. It is Penn State versus Boise State. Penn State's favored by 11.5, which obviously is a pretty dramatic spread for Boise State being the 3 seed and Penn State being the 6 seed, but that's a flaw in how they set up the college football playoff. That's not the team's fault. This one's interesting for a bunch of reasons. One, Boise State has done this time and time again. I don't know if there is a single program in the country that has put on for more other programs in their history. What I mean by that is like App State and Coastal and ECU and Liberty and every team in the MAC and JMU all have to root for Boise State in this game. Just like if you go back to 2007 when Boise State made the Fiesta Bowl, ironically, and beat Oklahoma with Adrian Peterson, every other Group of 5 team was rooting their tail off for Boise. Because if they win, that shows it's possible. If they win, that shows Boise was deserving of the bye. If they win, that means a Group of 5 team that has a special year can go into the college football playoff and knock off a blue blood with the big budget and all the recruiting powers and all of the boosters and all of the everythings. So every Group of 5 team out there, Charlotte, every Group of 5 team out there is rooting for Boise State in this one. And yes, the cards are stacked against them. There's a reason why Penn State is more than a 2-score favorite. But Boise State, right? I talk a lot about the slingshot, right? David versus Goliath. If you're David, what is your slingshot? What is the thing you have that can change the balance of power? If Boise State has a slingshot, you know what it is. Ashton Jeanty, second in the Heisman voting. Many would say the People's Heisman. It'll be fun to see Ashton Jeanty do what I call the Kobe Bryant in 2005 thing, where he tries to win the game by himself. Kobe Bryant, and this goes, Kobe obviously, with the tragedy and everything else, but this goes for every athlete. If you're a great athlete, the further away you get from your career, the more we just kind of glaze over the details and just, point things out that are awesome. Kobe's best scoring years were not when the Lakers were good. Kobe scored 35.3, I think it was, 35-plus points per game over a season. That's the game. That's the season where he had the 40-plus in like 10 straight games and the 80, like all of that. 2005, 2006, he averaged 35.3 points per game. Do you know who the rest of the starters were that year for the Lakers? No one that you associate, maybe Lamar Odom. Lamar Odom is a starter. Nobody else do you associate with Kobe, right? No Shaq, no Rick Fox, no Derek Fisher, no Pau Gasol, no Bynum, none of the guys who you associate with them in good years. We're talking Smush Parker, Chris Mim, Kwame Brown, Lamar Odom. You get great individual performances when the supporting cast doesn't live up to the star and the star says, I'm going to try to do this on my own. I'm going to try to – a shot from me with 3 hands in my face is better than a shot from anyone else on the floor, so watch me do me. Penn State is just more talented than just about everybody else on Boise. Their line, bigger. Their receivers, faster. Their quarterback, built in a lab, 6'5", 240, laser rocket arm. Their recruiting, better. Their NIL deals, more rich. Their field, green, not blue. Like in just about every way, Boise State is at a disadvantage, except Boise State has Ashton Jeanty. Penn State has a running back that'll probably be drafted also, Nick Singleton. He won't be drafted anywhere near Ashton Jeanty. Penn State is more talented just about everywhere, but Jeanty looks special. And by the way, he has performed in a special way, right? He lit up Oregon to make that a close game. Oregon's the number 1 team in the country. Boise State lost by 1, essentially by saying, we're going to try to not mess it up on the plays in between us handing it to Ashton Jeanty. So I'm kind of ready to see him go Kobe in 05 and just say, give me the ball, watch what I do with it. A run for me against a box with 8 guys in it where they try to stack the line to stop the run is better than anyone else getting the ball. Let's see if I can break 6 tackles on my way to a touchdown run rather than asking you to break 1. From Penn State, Drew Aller already announced he's returning, but I'll put it this way when it comes to the Penn State quarterback. He's not there yet. He wouldn't be up there with I don't think he would be up there, not based on any of the reading I'm doing. I don't think he'd be up in the top 5 draft picks if he declared this year. But I think a big playoff run, a good game against Boise State, and then a big game in the semifinals at least, could put him in the running to be the top quarterback in next year's draft. He physical tools through the roof. They have a running back by committee. I mentioned Nick Singleton. They also have Katron Allen. They've got talent. The elephant in the room for Penn State is this. Is Boise State a big game? James Franklin is head coach. He struggles with the big games, right? He wins every game he should. He beats everyone in the Big Ten except Ohio State and Michigan. Like that's his MO. That's his rep. So if you lose big games, is Boise State a big game? Because Penn State traditionally they don't lose the group of 5 games. They don't lose the games to like down and out Northwesterns. They don't lose those games. They lose the games where, everybody's watching. So this is kind of like an oxymoron. It is both a big game and not a big game. It's a big game everyone's going to be watching. It's college football playoff quarterfinal. It's the big game in town on a Tuesday night. But it's also not a big game because you're playing the team on the Smurf field, right? You're playing the team it's actually hard to watch film of when they have blue jerseys on blue field. I know that because once in college we played Eastern Washington and they had a red field. And when they wore red jerseys on red field, it was hard to read numbers. So you'd be like, who's the safety? What is that? Who's that? That was guy at speed. Who is that?
That would just hurt the eyes, I feel like.
It was not fun. As a team, we probably watched 3 times as much film of them in away games than we did on home games because we wanted them on green fields. That's what Boise's doing. Right? They're kind of a quirky little group of 5 team in Idaho. Does that allow James Franklin to get over his big game yips because he's like, we're playing a quirky little team from potato country? Or does he go, this is college football playoff, it's a big game, I don't win these, deuces? A lot of storylines there. I think it's going to be a really fun game. And don't be surprised. Like, if I had to guess, and I may make more kind of concrete picks tomorrow when I'm hosting the Adam Gold Show from noon to 3. Catch it for the first 2 hours here on 99.9 The Fan. You can catch it. That's from noon to 2. For the full 3 hours, noon to 3, we'll be on Buzz Sports Radio. So I may make more concrete predictions there. If I had to guess right now, I think it's going to play out very similarly to the Oregon game for Boise State. The best player on the field will be Jeanty. There'll be like 5 plays that make your jaw drop, and you're like, that guy's unbelievable. And Penn State will somehow find a way to win a close game, mostly by leaning on their talent advantage. They'll advance to the semifinals, but Boise State will walk away with something more valuable than a win: their opponent's respect. Is that not actually more valuable? That's just what they say. the spoiler alert, the ending to Rocky. Right? Didn't walk away with the belt, but walked away with something more important: the respect of the boxing world. That's not how it rolls. I do think it'll be a fun game to watch, though, and you darn sure I will be watching. As we said earlier, Panther Talk is coming up next, right at the top of this next hour. Panther Talk is straight from the horse's mouth, right? Or from the cat's mouth, might be the better way to say that. Dave Canales, the voice of the Panthers, and Shroff, they break down everything going on in Pantherland, which means we'll get updates on injuries. The Chuba Hubbard IR news did kind of surprise everybody late last week. And then also, for lack of a better term, what the heck happened against the Bucs? They'll dive into that with my favorite part about Panther Talk, and there's no disrespect to anything else they do, it's the timing of it. Dave Canales and every coach does hide a bit after the game to, I don't know, we'll have to watch the tape and see. I don't know, have to watch the tape. I don't know, got to see it on film. By the time they talk on Monday for Panther Talk, you better have watched the film. You better have watched it Sunday night. So there's no more hiding behind that. You actually get detailed responses. So Panther Talk is coming up next, as I mentioned. One last time I'll remind you today, or I should say tomorrow, Tuesday, if you tune in for this show at 3, which I appreciate you for seeking us out, you're going to hear the Sun Bowl. We are not on air at this time tomorrow, but you can catch me at noon for the Adam Gold Show. I'll be sitting in for Adam. And then the next day is New Year's Eve. We won't have a show that day. There'll be more bowl games. I'll be back normal show time on Thursday. So hopefully you'll all be here to hang out then. Thank you to Graham for keeping us up and running. Thank you to all of you. And that's it for the drive, I guess. Happy New Year, because we won't be back on the drive till after the year changes. Happy New Year. Follow us on YouTube. We'll see you on Thursday. Have a great night, everybody.